Hey everyone, welcome to my first ever hair tutorial video. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do this 90s inspired blowout at home on yourself, so if you're interested, stay tuned. My hair is already prepped. I've already put leave-in conditioner in it and thermal spray. My favorites are the Olaplex number 6 and the phytokeratin leave-in spray. I combed it through, put it up in the towel, and now it's like towel dried up until like 90%. But what I'm doing today is more of like a voluminous 90s blowout, and this is how I like to achieve it. So I take a mohawk section out from the top. Boom. This area back here, I split it down the middle and I bring the hair forward, and then I split down the ear, this section forward. This section, I'll split it in half. Now getting to the tools and to the brushes. I usually work my blow dries with 2 different size brushes. The big brush is to work this root area. And then once that section is done, I go in with the smaller brush and I work this area. You can use one brush. This is just how I like to do it. The brushes that I usually like to work with are the Spornet brushes. I like the long, smooth operator. The smaller size that I work with is the 4470, and the bigger one is the 4475. The weight distribution is really good on your hands. Trust me, you need that. They're pretty weightless, and obviously they're long. So you can grab a lot of hair and it just makes your life a whole lot easier. And then the blow dryer that I always work with is the Dyson. Whatever blow dryer you have will do. It's just very important that you have a nozzle. I can't tell you how many times I'll go to a client's house and they'll whip out their blow dryer and it doesn't have a nozzle, and it kills me. What we're gonna do first is go in with the bigger brush. I go with my right hand and I wrap it around with my left hand, but then I hold my brush with my left hand and I hold my blow dryer with my right. Now I'm gonna work in my root, get it nice and dry and hot. What I'm gonna do now is go in with the smaller brush. This time I'm gonna be going underneath, like that. Going in with my right hand with the brush, wrapping it around and keeping it in my right hand, and going in with my blow dryer in the left. If you notice, as I'm rolling up the brush, I don't keep the air on the brush. I kind of go away, smooth, go away, smooth. And now I twirl it. And I'm gonna hit it with the cold air. The cold air seals in all of the work that you do. If you don't hit it with a cool shot, your blow dryer isn't gonna last you as long. And it's not gonna be as shiny. Oh, this is all cold air. And now what I like to do is give it a twist. Whoop, but not that part. Give it a twist and let it go. And then just drop it back. Now, I'm gonna grab that section right above it, same mechanism. And for the root, remember, I switched the brush. Perfect, now that my root is smooth, I go through with my smaller brush. And I'll wrap underneath. And go down with my blow dryer always parallel to my brush. Still feel like this middle area needs to be better smooth, so I'm gonna wrap it around again. It's really important to remember the cool shot. Remember to keep your blow dryer always parallel to your brush, like this. Every time that I see somebody blow drying their hair at home, their blow dryer is usually always like slanted or a little. It's important to look in the mirror and make sure it's parallel. That helps a lot. So I'm still gonna go in again in this section and do that middle part, work it a little better. I'm air drying it now in that middle area, making sure it's smooth. And now I'm grabbing those ends and I'm rolling it up. Meanwhile, I am pressing down the cool shot on the blow dryer. I'm cooling down the blow dryer. And now I'm gonna put that cool air on the hair. And I'm gonna work it down. All cold air. And now I turn it off and I give it a twist back, boom, and I don't touch it. For this section, bring it in. Wrap it around with good tension and heat it up. And bring it down. Roll it, roll it. As most of us have, you know, frizzier hair here in the front, so I'm gonna go over like that. And I'm gonna wrap it up. Meanwhile, I'm hitting the cool shot and I'm gonna hit that. It takes a minute to cool down. So as soon as you can hit that cool shot button, it's best. Saves you time. And swoop it back. Bam. I'll bring this forward now. And we're gonna start on the other side, same thing. Part it down the ear. On this side of my head, I keep the brush always in my right hand and my blow dryer in my left. Smaller brush. Keep it in there. And now I'm gonna be cooling it down. I'm gonna go in with this brush, wrap it around, and heat it up. Get your curl in there. If you notice, the reason why I wrap this around, put the brush underneath, wrap this hair around nicely is because you're heating up both this section and this section at the same time. You're bringing the blow dryer down with it, like that. And then as soon as it gets to that tip, you're gonna start to bring it up and bring down and bring it up and bring it down. And you're gonna heat while removing the blow dryer too, because you don't wanna just heat. That's a lot of heat on your hair. So you're gonna bring down, let it go, roll it up, heat it. Let this sit here. Meanwhile, you're cooling your blow dryer down, and then you're gonna hit it with the cold air, and that's gonna set it all together, and then you let it go. And that's why I don't touch it, because the hair is setting, and the longer you let it set, the longer it lasts. So, and let it go, give it a little twist, and murder she wrote. Do this section with the small brush. And eventually you start getting your own technique. So for this section, I'm just kind of rolling it. This section feels pretty dry, ready to style. So what I'm doing is wrapping it around and heating it up with those tips. And then as soon as I start to hit the end, I roll up. Perfect. I'm gonna roll it up. Blow dryer is cooling down. Ooh, hot. And then I cool down. So now I'm gonna take this back area here that I just sectioned out, which is about 1/3 of the top section, and I'm gonna let it out for right now. And I'm gonna clip this away. So I'm gonna grab this hair and I'm gonna split it in half. I'm gonna grab the big brush, wrap it under, keep this brush in my right hand, and with the blow dryer, I'm gonna go underneath. See all my baby hairs? It's when I made the transfer to Fido. Great, so now I'm gonna grab my little brush. If you notice, this is even a little tricky for me. So if you're having a hard time with your blow dries, don't feel bad. So if you notice, what I did here is I just went underneath like that, wrapped it around. And I'm gonna do that same technique that I was doing before of feeding up the ends and bringing them up, wrapping it up. And now I'm cooling down my blow dryer just like before. Give it a little wrap. Perfect. And she can go to the back. Grab the big brush, wrap it around, and go over like that so you can smooth out those baby hairs. On this side of my head, I guess what I do is I switch it over to this hand when I'm smoothing out the root. Grab the smaller brush, wrap it around. And one more time. And I'm cooling it down. So this one I guess gets 2 twists. Perfect. And then she goes to the back for the front area. Everyone's different when it comes to this area. I'm gonna split it down the middle. Split that in half. I'm gonna wrap this around the brush like that, and I'm gonna bring it down like that too. Keeping it parallel always to my brush. Same method, bringing it in. And then once they're both kind of dry, bring them both in like that, wrap it around. Bring them up. And cool them down. I just like clipping that out of the way. In. Always parallel. I know I repeat myself, but it's so important. Again, gonna wrap it around. If you feel like you lose the tension, re-wrap it. Wrap it around. Heat it up. Boom, boom, boom. And cool it down. Perfect. Like this. And I don't touch it for like 5 minutes. Okay. So blow dry is done. Should look like this. Break it up. Fluff it out from the root. Perfect. And I actually really like the IGK Beach Club spray. It works really well for me. It does give your hair texture. So if you like to feel like there isn't anything in your hair, I wouldn't go for this one. I would go for something more like the L'Oreal, I think it's called Infinium 3. That's a really good lightweight hairspray. But I like a little bit of texture, so. And that is your at-home 90s blowout. I hope you guys enjoyed.